Clean energy for our municipalities, next on Caucus New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities and New Jersey's Clean Energy Program, St. Peter's College, Barnabas Health, and Sun National Bank.
The state of New Jersey is in an energy crisis. With 566 municipalities and over 600 school districts, energy costs vary from a few $1,000s a year to millions. If these costs can be reduced, so will the burden on taxpayers. The Board of Public Utilities has literally dozens of programs which are helping.
It might be a pay-for-performance program that is an entire building approach. It might be a simple process, which we would refer to as a direct install program. Something as simple as replacing the lighting, maybe room monitors perhaps, so the lights will go on and off as you walk into a room. It could be thermostats.
But all of these small upgrades can add up to big savings. The process starts with a simple online application and an energy audit.
It's a master plan of how you use energy, how much energy you use, a conditional assessment of all the equipment that's in the building, how much energy will be used at night, how much energy will be used in the summer.
Mike Fischetti is the president of Concord Engineering Group, one of 5 pre-selected engineering auditors across the state who provide free energy audits. The audit often starts in the boiler room.
All right. When we walk into a boiler room, typically what I see is old, antiquated equipment that's still operating. And we'll see a 30 or 40-year-old boiler plant that's been operating and it's way past its useful life. So that's the first thing that we'll generally see to replace. Then we'll start to move into the lighting, and we'll start to look at where the lighting is throughout the whole building, and we'll literally take a room-by-room survey of the entire building and count the lights and look at the fixtures and determine how much energy each lighting fixture is using throughout the building.
Then it's back to the office to crunch the numbers. Utility bills are input. A load profile or snapshot of the yearly energy use is created. And then a building model, which duplicates how the building uses energy.
Basically what we have here is you have 3 steam boilers.
From there, Mike and his team can start to input solutions. Then the job is bid out to contractors. In Manchester Township, principal project engineer Joe Vini had 2 problems with his buildings: their lighting and their boilers.
We've had some boilers that were from the 60s. We had other boilers that were from the 80s. They were clearly on their way to just not working anymore, clearly not efficient. I would say some of them had efficiency of about 55 to 60.
With the help of grants, they replaced their 8 old boilers with 5 new ones. Not only were they more efficient and reliable, but they took up about half the space. They also replaced 60 fixtures with new high-efficiency T8 fluorescent lighting. And they installed something called daylight harvesting systems.
Daylight harvesting is basically a system that takes natural sunlight and directs it into an interior workspace, so you don't have to utilize the artificial lights, which uses energy. For example, we're sitting here in our courtroom, which is lit by natural sunlight through the use of solar tubes.
The total cost of both projects was about $73,000. Using an energy-efficient conservation block grant and direct install, there were no out-of-pocket costs to the township.
If it hadn't been for the program, we would have eventually done it, but that was something where we were looking to find, funding sources, and that was going to be something that was going to be done much, much later.
The real goal is to reduce energy consumption. You reduce energy consumption by being more efficient, it will cut your costs. The new master plan is reflecting goals of a 20% reduction by the year 2021. We're certainly on our way to doing that.
I want to thank our producer, Paul Levine, for an excellent package that sometimes talking about is one thing, seeing is another. Here to examine ways that New Jersey municipalities can save energy, be more efficient, and save tax dollars. We have Lee Solomon, who is in fact the president of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities, Frank Addy, mayor of Reddington Township, Mike Fischetti, you saw him in the tape piece, CEO of Concord Engineering, and finally Ed Hutchinson, president of Hutchinson Mechanical Services. I want to thank everyone for joining us here. Listen, Paul laid out this piece that really talks about, Lee, what an inventory, what an energy audit is. And you got to get into the bowels of really looking at how things are being wasted. How common is this?
It's very common. There were more than 400 eligible municipalities and counties that qualified for the audits and for the direct install program. More than 460 took advantage of it. So it's prevalent throughout the state. It's a lot of dollars to be saved, and that affects property taxes.
Help me on this, folks. Why didn't we do this sooner? I mean, if it makes so much sense, we're saving money, we're saving energy, we're being responsible, why didn't we do this sooner? No, not everyone at once. Let's go. Come on, we do this. Is politics getting it? Has it gotten in the way?
It's not something that comes to your mind firsthand to start thinking about energy to reduce taxes.
How about, hold on, well, reducing taxes is always coming to your mind. This is saving money. This is saving taxpayer dollars. Why didn't we sell it sooner? I mean, I want to go forward, but I want to understand, like, are we catching up now?
I would think that we are catching up a little bit. There was always some type of programs available, but the programs did not quite have the horsepower that they have today. So what's happening is the programs are improving.
Right.
And I think that is probably the biggest piece we're finding across the board.
But it also isn't that you're spending some money up front?
Well, that's part of it, but let me just throw out the idea
Surely.
that in the past, it's largely been government's responsibility to educate the public and business and schools and municipalities about these programs, about these projects. It's been turned over more and more to the private sector, who are much better at marketing it, much better at selling it, and reaching out to the municipalities and the school districts, Mike, Ed, others like them. And so the information is getting out there. It's getting out there effectively because, to be honest with you, I don't think government, I used to be a local official and a county official and a state official. We're not that good at selling things, and when we do sell them, there's a sense of mistrust about it. But, you know, if they've had dealings with Ed or dealings with Mike, or they're comfortable dealing with them, they understand what they're trying to tell them, and they're much better at marketing it. So I think that's part
When you're
of
out there, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah,
Mike.
here's the problem. I've been living with this for 20 years in this state, and the boiler rooms, the heating systems, the air conditioning systems, the lightings, it's the last thing you want to look at. It's the last things anybody
guts.
wants to do.
You don't want to see the guts.
No, they want a new building. You know, we want something that the public can see. We want something that we can, show, on...
the ribbon cutting isn't in the boiler room.
There's no ribbon cutting in the boiler room. And in fact, you drive up to a school and you see solar panels. That's something you can see. It makes you feel good. You change out a boiler system, we don't get that same kind of benefit. But visual. It's not visual.
But when you're out there trying to sell it to taxpayers, how responsive are they to when you make it clear, listen, we'll save X amount of dollars over the next 3 to 5 years? Is that what they respond to, Mayor?
Yes, that's exactly what they'll respond to now. I mean, because everyone's looking at what the government is doing to see if they could do it, figure out to help them do it better to reduce their taxes. So you got a lot of eyes looking on the government officials.
Hey, explain your role in all this.
Our role is we're a direct install contractor, one of 8.
A direct install contractor. Okay.
It's one of the programs put through the BPU, the Office of Clean Energy. So we are one of the 8 across the state that go in and do a total turnkey project for whether it be a municipal.
Whoa, a little jargon here, turnkey.
Turnkey means that as opposed to the owner or the municipality having to go to the BPU and get their own rebates or do their own engineering or do pick up their own energy conservation measures, we come in there with a preset system where we can go in there and take a look at all their energy conservation measures, whether they be boilers like Mike you saw in the video. We take and we put together the analysis, we put together the payback, we put together the finance piece of it, and it's all one piece. They don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to worry about the rebates come directly to us, and we go in, do the project, and it's done. Boom.
It's interesting. One of the expressions that I was picking up is renovate, don't rebuild. All right, it's been used a lot. What does that mean, Lee?
It's a lot less expensive to fix up an existing structure than start at the foundation. Much less expensive because really you're not doing much in terms of restructuring. You may be putting in new windows, new lights, maybe even a new roof. But the bricks and mortar are typically, other than insulation, bricks and mortar are not being put in or built. It's much less expensive, much more efficient, and a much shorter duration, the mayor will see a return on this within weeks or months, not years.
Let's put things in perspective. By the way, as you can see, this program is underwritten in part by our partnership with the BPU. And one of the things that we're trying to do is educate the public.
Sure.
But the question is, say we're educating the public about these issues. What do we want the average citizen to do? I mean, what are they supposed to do? Go to the municipal council and say, hey, we want you to do these things because we know money's being wasted. Because you looked at that boiler room when you're going through there. Like, give folks some perspective. How much money is being wasted right now? Then we'll go back to the question of the public.
On average, every single local government in this state is going to save 20% off their bill after they complete these improvements.
20%.
That's right.
How do we know that?
Because we've done over 500 audits already in the state, and those are the results.
How quickly the 20%?
How quickly would it take
How quickly
to
do you
recover?
get that 20% return?
You pretty much
Not
get
return,
that-
excuse me, reduction.
The reduction happens immediately right after you implement the project. So if I identify something in the audit, it takes me 6 months to put it in, you start to save right there.
So go back to the average person.
Right.
We're trying to educate the average person so that they can say, wait a minute, I want to be a part of this discussion. I want to help save money in the community and be more energy efficient. What should they do?
Well, when a municipality, and look, we're all under the gun economically in terms of budgets. When a municipality or a county or a school district is faced with cuts, one of the things the residents should be doing is saying, listen, how much can we save with energy efficiency so we can keep the police officer, we can keep the school teacher, we can keep that person that's near and dear to us, but make it closed out because of budget constraints.
It's interesting how you just connected energy efficiency, savings, with having more cops on the street, more firefighters, more teachers potentially, because you're talking about school systems.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. Help us on that, Mayor. Is that the argument? You
yeah,
say,
that's
listen,
absolutely the
it's
argument.
not just an energy efficiency issue. Go ahead.
No, we, as a government entity, we have to provide services to the residents. And if you start cutting down on services, they're not going to be a happy group of people. So you need to do those types of things to keep the police officer, to keep the school teacher, in order to service the populace.
But where's the resistance? Where is the public resistance right now?
I don't.
Part of the
You don't see
resistance is not knowing, is not
What do you mean?
understanding
That's
what
exactly
it is.
it.
That's not resistance. That's just, I don't want to say ignorance when we're talking about the public, but they don't know. But you're saying there's no, once they find out, there's no resistance?
Generally not, no. People want to save energy. Probably the most difficult thing is, where do we find the money to implement these projects? The audits are free, okay? So everybody's
the
going to go
money?
out and do an audit. The audit comes from the Clean Energy Department. The Clean Energy Department will reimburse the local government for the audit. So it's free. All they have to do is apply.
Is it really free?
Well, there is a charge on people's bills, and it's called the societal benefit charge.
What is it called?
Societal benefit charge.
Societal benefit charge.
Commercial, industrial, residential customers pay something. It's a relatively small amount, but it is something on everybody's bill. That is what funds the Clean Energy Program. We are looking at, and we'll begin next year, looking at changing it from a rebate-based program to a revolving loan program.
What's the difference?
Because as you pay back a loan, the amount in the fund expands to the point where eventually, as all the loans get repaid, you're in a cyclical process. You're not just sending money out the door that you never see again. And the societal benefit charge can shrink. The money would still be available in the same amount. The projects would still be financed with low or no interest over long terms and without money down. But as the money gets repaid, the fund's replenished, and it's there forever.
By the way, in that spirit, log on to our website. We'll link you to the Board of Public Utilities, and they've got